Okay, so I just want to share some of what has been showing me lately. So basically, there were two movies that I watched, and I feel like they both kind of had a common theme of what I feel like the Lord is saying right now, and that is basically like it may have seemed like the odds have been against you, but no matter how messy or complicated things seem, like God still has the power and the ability to work it all out for good and to unite you with the person that He's ordained for you. So I don't really, I'm not going to go into as much detail into the movies as I usually do with other movies that I talk about. Um, but basically, well, in both movies, it was like there was a special connection between them that you couldn't really deny. And people could see it, but they both kind of tried to hide it or deny it. And that was kind of like their downfall, basically. And it kind of made things more messy. So in the first movie, they didn't acknowledge their feelings for each other, so they ended up with other people. And you could kind of see on the other end, like how that affected them, like their friendship and also like their their well-being. Um, and so basically, like in the first movie, um, the girl ended up getting pregnant and having a baby, and the guy ended up getting in a relationship with someone, um, and he ended up getting cheated on. So then he ended up getting in another relationship, and he was planning to marry that person, but he knew in his heart that he didn't truly love her. And it wasn't until like later on that actually at his wedding that the um, the best friend was was there, and it wasn't until like him seeing her there that he was finally able to like um, kind of he was basically just like saying that that he was trying to find other um, people to kind of fill in the space where she was supposed to be. So that was kind of like where things eventually shifted, and he was able to like, well, another thing too is that there was a lot of warfare as well. So he had sent a letter to her, and we've already been talking about like communication and like the letter and things like that. He had written a letter and he was going to send it to her, but basically she ended up marrying the person that she had a baby with, and so he was jealous of them, the connection that they had, and he basically hid the letter from her and he didn't allow her to read it. It wasn't until she decided to leave him because he ended up cheating on her, and she was going through everything in the house, and that was when she found it. And he was basically telling her like, you deserve better, and he was basically saying like, how he feels about her. So it was kind of like a timing thing. It was always like when one was trying to show their interest or their care, then the other one was like not really in the place of being able to receive it. So it was a lot of that. And but in the end, like she was able to receive an inheritance from her father. And another theme between the movies is that they both had like one of them had a very like special relationship with their father. And so she received an inheritance from her father, and she was able to pursue her dream of having her own hotel. And so he ended up being there to be there when she opened it, and she was able to take him to his room, and that was when they were able to finally like unite and things like that. But it was basically just them kissing, which represents agreement. So that was basically the movie. And another thing I want to quickly mention as well is that before she opened her own hotel, she was working at the hotel, basically like cleaning the floors and stuff like that. So that also kind of reminded me of Cinderella and how God is wanting to elevate his children and bring promotion and increase. If you really like watch through it, like you can see like how complicated it was and how much it seemed like everything was against them coming together, and that's how it may feel like in your like situation. But I just pray that you're encouraged just to know that like God is bigger than every situation and nothing is too hard for him. So in the second movie, so he actually started off in a relationship with someone else. She was young, and it was actually his sister that he ended up falling for. But he was in a relationship with the younger sister. I think she was the younger sister. And the older sister was kind of like jealous and annoyed with him. So they didn't really get to know each other that well. It was actually like there was a moment where he was waiting for the younger sister to come on a date, and she didn't show up yet. So that was when he met the other sister. But he didn't realize right away that they were sisters. So um, he ended up having a baby with the younger sister. The younger sister um, ended up cheating on him, and she was kind of admitting like she didn't really take the relationship seriously. She didn't really love him like that. So he was kind of heartbroken, and it really did impact him, like his career and like just his emotional state and things like that. And the older sister ended up um, telling him that she was gonna marry a different guy. So that was also like it's like kind of like shocking news for him. Um, and the younger sister ended up kind of like blackmailing him and saying like kind of like threatening him that like if he doesn't do what she wants, then she won't have custody of his he won't have custody of his son, and he could lose his visa as he was from the UK and he was working in the United States. And actually both of these movies involve the UK, which is interesting. So so even in that movie, like with all the complicated situations and things like that, he was still able to um, be with the older sister. He had to get the courage to tell her how he truly felt, because he had like denied that too. Um, Especially with knowing that the older sister was gonna be with a different guy and stuff like that. But it was his father that actually encouraged him to, truly go after her. And so again, like the relationship with the father was something special in both um, movies, and I feel like that really just symbolizes like God being involved in these unions and just like prioritizing God and cherishing our relationship with him, and knowing that like he's the one blessing you with this union and this gift. And so um yeah, so he finally did that. And um they were trying to keep it a secret at first, but eventually things came out, and they were able to like eventually reconcile. And um the the sister the sisters made up, and um the younger sister just stayed with the other guy that she was with, and then the older sister and the main guy ended up being together, and he got custody back with his son, um, and he was able to be there for his father's, on the end of his life, and they ended up, um, having just ending on good terms. And even in the first movie, like the best friends that ended up being together in the end, the guy was there when her father died. So just this respect for the father was there. and that's gonna be something that's there in the relationships as well. So in both of those movies, like, it was very messy, and the thing is, like, it's not too hard for God to clean up. It's not too hard for him to align and correct and overturn things, and that's really something that, like, God has been kind of speaking about. So I want to go over some numbers I've seen, and then I want to go into what the Lord was showing me yesterday. Yeah, so kind of like in the second movie, how the father was motivating him, encouraging him to, go and get her. This is what God is doing with the sons as well. He's kind of just nudging them, calling them to come and go after what belongs to them. So I'm just reading some of the lines from the end of the second movie where he finally like comes to her and like reunites with her. So he shows up and she says, "You came," and he says, "Piece of cake." But the truth is, it took a lot for him to come to her, and it is going to take a lot for them to come to you. So he says, "I came because I love you. I came because I need you. I need my son. I need my family. That's why I came." And then she said, "You want to hear something crazy?" And she said, "I knew you'd come." And he said, "That's irrational." And she said, "It's romantic." And then he said, you and I, we've only had moments, but now we have time." So when she told him that she knew he would come, he said that that's irrational. And irrational means lacking logic, sound judgment, or clear reasoning. So, God may have told you that he's bringing restoration, that he's bringing this promise to pass, and people may have thought that you were irrational. And for your person, it may be like really crazy or unbelievable to them that you're actually believing in this and believing in this promise, because it seems so illogical. But God is rewarding you for your faith and your stands. So you may have only felt like you had like moments together, but you're going to actually have like time to truly spend with them and get to know them. And also like just God has given you this promise, so he wants you to be in expectation and be open to receive them and just stay in position when they come to you.